we don't really get a lot of backstory for what happened in these first 13 episodes, but my impression is so either they had to stand over Jeremy's shoulder as he modeled them into Lyoko, or Odd is genetically a catboy. There is no other explanation.
Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Leyla.
And this week, we watched the 2003 French animated series Code Lyoko. Before we put our giant heads together to form a plan to stop Xana, remember to help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on Twitter at MortifiedPod. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leyla, will you real quick tell me how you made the executive decision that we were going to watch Code Lyoko?
There was no executive decision. There was a Tumblr post and me in the tags saying, Aaron bleeds, and you said, we have to. That was the decision making.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god, one of the people I follow on Tumblr was just like, holy shit, and then I was like, oh man, this takes me back to a time. And thankfully, that time intersected with the time that you had on this earth, watching some questionable Cartoon Network shows. So I'm very excited. I'm going to try to summarize this wild show real quick, and then we can get into it. For reference, we did watch the first 13 episodes of Season 1 of Code Lyoko, which is available now on Netflix, and there will be spoilers for all of that, and possibly some of the Code Lyoko lore that I looked up on Wikipedia. So basically, Code Lyoko is a show that revolves around these group of 4 kids who go to this like French boarding school, basically, and they, along with dealing with a lot of personal drama, they also have a supercomputer in a factory that's near their school, within scootering distance of their school, that they have to log into this virtual world called Lyoko, wherein another person named Aelita, there's like this virtual girl named Aelita who lives in Lyoko, and she helps them fight this, from what I can tell, is basically an evil artificial intelligence named Xana, who can somehow manipulate things in the real world, and the only way they can fight Xana is by using Aelita's superpowers to stop him from interfering in the real world by basically going on these like little Final Fantasy fights in Lyoko. And at least the 13 episodes we watched, that formula did not change at all. It was very much just like, Xana's doing something. Oh no, we found out Xana's doing something. Into the virtual world. We stop Xana at the last minute. That's it. And I think for like a serialized show, I think it works pretty well. But that is not the reason why we were so drawn to this show as children. Layla, how old do you think you were when you first started watching Code Lyoko?
I mean, it aired between 2003 and 2007, so it was between like 8 and 11, 8 and 10.
Yeah, I think I would have been probably 11, because that's like around the time that we got cable, and like 2005. So yeah, that tracks. Golly, where do we begin, Leyla? There is so much to talk about.
That's a great fucking question. So in terms of the show being serialized, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is prototype Miraculous Ladybug. Even before I started watching this, I just like was thinking about it and I was like, oh my god, this is the same format as Miraculous Ladybug, like down to the T. You have it's not an AI in the other one. It's one of the superhero children's evil dad who controls evil moths. So instead of Xana possessing a teddy bear, it's like evil moths possessing pretty much anyone in like a remotely a bad mood in Paris. And, they fight, and at the last minute they win, and there's like a mechanism to go back in time before everything went sour, kind of thing.
Wait, that's Princess Ladybug?
Miraculous Ladybug, yeah.
Okay, that sounds extremely similar.
Yes, and there's even a so we'll get into Ulrich and Yumi a little bit because they're so frustrating to watch. It's somehow they found a way to make it worse in Miraculous Ladybug because the two kids are Adrian and Marinette, and they both have secret superhero identities, and they don't know that they are both secret superheroes, even though their masks. It's like Sailor Moon. Like, you should be able to tell.
You can look straight through the mask. Yeah,
it's stupid. But so Marinette has a crush on Adrian, but Adrian as Cat Noir has a crush on Miraculous Ladybug, and they don't know. And so every time they like make a move or something, they're like, oh, my heart is taken by someone else. And it's like, it's you, it's both of you, it's you.
You have the same voice and are approximately the same height. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Same hairstyle, same eye color, same voice. They're both like a little more confident and acrobatic in their superhero outfits. But so it's like the same shit, except more frustrating than Ulrich and Yumi. Yeah, it's France found a formula that works, and they're like, how can we make this poppier and more appealing to younger children? And the reason I got so into like looking up what this studio was on the so by the way, the pilot for this, Aaron found out, is Garage Kids.
The original concept was pitched as Garage Kids, which is either the greatest name ever or the stupidest, Frenchiest name ever. I can't decide which.
It's both. And sorry, I literally just saw in the outline, what is your Lyoko Sona? And I'm so glad you put that in there because I was gonna ask. So it was produced by a studio called Anti Films, and it got eaten by Moonscoop, which does all the 3D post for a bunch of obscure French shows, but also some pretty big IPs for children. And I was wondering, I was like, could it be the same studio that does Miraculous Ladybug? It is not. But if it was, I was gonna be like, man, they really found a formula and fucking went with it.
Yeah, man, I just wish I could know how much like this CGI cost, because that's the thing. And when they go into the virtual world, it goes from 2D standard animation like to this 3D, like it's absolute like incredibly bad early 2000s CG. And like they did it for every episode, which makes me wonder just how much it cost, because in the early 2000s this must have like each episode of this had more CG in it than like Jurassic Park did. So
I actually don't think it was all that expensive, just because I googled Pixar 2008, and in 2008 like WALL-E was a thing. So honestly, considering it was pretty low poly and there was no real lighting or texturing, I don't think it was that expensive.
Okay, that's fair.
And they blatantly used run cycles and fighting animations, and there was a lot of characters standing around doing nothing. So in terms of production, I really don't think it was that pricey, but like you said, it is still impressive that they did it.
Yeah, it's very ambitious, I'll say that. We need to talk about the characters, because they are the absolute most interesting and also wildest parts of the show. Even beyond.
Because of their foreheads, or because of their
they are certainly the widest parts of the show. Oh my god. Let's start with Jeremy, our resident super genius. So all of Jeremy's friends, except for Yumi, I guess, are like kind of dummy knucklehead guys. But Jeremy is like this, prodigy genius hacker guy, and like you've seen him in every media outlet. There's a nerdy kid. This is Jeremy. He's super smart. He's smarter than all his friends, but they let him hang out with them anyway. And Jeremy, he's like sort of the linchpin that holds us all together, because he knows how to operate this computer they found in a factory and hack into Lyoko and whatever.
Which, by the way, no exposition for any of this.
Yeah, no. Like, apparently there is exposition, but like I had to go to Wikipedia to find it, and it doesn't help. It's actually a lot better without the exposition, IMO. If you do want exposition, though, this podcast came out in 2017, but it's currently called Super Nuclear Presents, but they called it Return to the Past, Code Lyoko Retrospective. It's just like a bunch of basically like you and me, Leyla, just some three friends that just started a podcast, and it's pretty good. It's still up on your podcatcher, so I just want to give them a plug real quick. They did a great job. but like they delve into the lore and it's so bonkers. But Jeremy, besides being like a huge dork nerd, I think he's also the most annoying character. Like even like arguably worse than Sissy, who is like the antagonist of the show. I think that Jeremy is like he's like if Jeremy goes on YouTube enough, he will turn into an incel. Is what I'm saying. Like he is like so obsessed with making Aelita a real person that like it's like one of his two personality traits, and I don't like Jeremy very much.
No, Jeremy's pretty fucking boring. I think me and you both agreed that he has no rights.
No,
there's nothing about him that's interesting or funny or quirky, and he never goes into Lyoko, so there's not even anything in there for us to kind of extrapolate on. Like, he genuinely just loves Aelita so much, and not in like a... I don't know, it feels like if Aelita actually I think she does get to eventually leave, because I think the show did finish. I think she does get to eventually leave Lyoko, and when she does, I'm like, what is interesting and compelling about you? Even in like an episode, Aelita, he was like being self-deprecating and, you know, like a whiny teenage boy about it, and Aelita's like, Jeremy, do you think we're going to get along when I leave Lyoko? Because if you're going to call yourself useless, I don't want a friend that's useless. I'm like, cold fucking blooded, Aelita. I fucking love you.
Oh, and Aelita kicks ass. Let's just skip Jeremy. He's boring. We'll talk about him later.
Give Aelita a gun!
Aelita's not a real person. She's a person,
well,
but
she is.
She's a person, but she's not a physical person, right? She's
meatless.
She has no body. And I think she's such an interesting character because she lives in this virtual hellscape, and her only point of contact is like this nerd-ass kid who shows up every once in a while to try to make her real, and she just has to talk to him. But like also she delivers some of the coldest one-liners, and she's just like, Jeremy, you have to not be a fucking little baby about this. Like, come on, people are dying.
Aelita volunteers to die like 4 times.
Basically, like every other episode, she's like, listen, I'm not like, you have human friends. There's going to be a lot of mass suffering unless I die. It's fine. And Jeremy's like, no, I just want the nuclear bomb to go off in the middle of France to save my virtual girlfriend. It's like, hey, Jeremy, dog. No.
Yeah, his priorities are very interesting.
And I mean, he is like a 14-year-old boy, so I mean, that's in character, but like...
I don't know, man. Nukes are kind of a different ballgame.
It's true.
It was the literal nuke once.
But I think you brought up a pretty good point. On Twitter, you posted that meme where it's like a huge book which says Code Lyoko, and then you posted a very much smaller book that said Code Lyoko if Aelita had a gun, which is an extremely good and salient point. Aelita doesn't have weapons. She could do telekinesis, and she can type in the Code Lyoko to Xana's towers, but she can't defend herself. Like, all of Jeremy's friends have to constantly, like, take bullets for her in the virtual world. And you brought up a very good point, Leyla.
I don't understand. So, okay, a couple of things. All the costumes for the virtual kids are extremely good. They fuck so hard. They're really great. I love all of them. I love that Ulrich is, like, this weird samurai with 2 swords. It's great.
But he's German, right?
He's incredibly German.
He's just a weeb.
It gives me he's either a weeb, or it gives me the impression that he just wanted to match with Yumi.
Yeah, like, exactly. Because Yumi is actually Japanese, and her whole thing is like she's like a cool fighter geisha, with like a laser fan and everything, and that's rad.
Yeah. Oh, Yumi in general, rad as hell. But so, you know, we don't really get a lot of backstory for what happened in these first 13 episodes, but my impression is, so either they had to stand over Jeremy's shoulder as he modeled them into Lyoko, or Odd is genetically a catboy. There is no other explanation.
I don't know what's worse, that like they're like, okay, I can figure out how to put you in this video game, and it's like it just spit out Catboy, or there's like a fucking hour-long scene of Jeremy like in Blender, and Odd's like, no, I need the stripes. If I don't have the fucking stripes, I'm not a real Catboy. I'm gonna get laughed out of the goddamn Catboy fan club, Jeremy. Come on, give me that tail. Let's go.
And put my dog on my shirt. I know it's ironic, but put my dog on my shirt. Very important to me. Put my dog on my shirt.
It's a brand. It's a statement.
I love Kiwi so much. Yeah, so it's one of those two things, but it's probably the first one, and if it is the first one, hey Jeremy, model your girlfriend a fucking gun, dude. And if you're not that good at modeling, model her a sword. Just anything. Please let her protect herself. A shield. Please, anything. A stick. I would take anything just so Leyla can swat some fucking robots. Crabs with boxes on their heads or whatever the fuck these goddamn Xana monsters are. Like, anything at all, please.
The monster design is fucking so bad. I hate all the virtual monsters. One of them's literally
incredible. One of them's a ball.
One of them's a fucking orb. They call it a mega tank, and it's just an orb that rolls out, and then it gets wide, and it shoots big, long lasers. Some of them are just crabs that have square, like, cube heads. And then there's one that's just like hornets. I gave up. It's hornets. They're just big. Fuck it, whatever.
Hornets.
The monster design makes me so mad because everything else they put so much thought into, and then they're like, fuck it. I don't care.
Maybe they just had a crab rig lying around.
Yeah, honestly.
Fucking put a box on it.
That's how they kept assets down. They're just like, whatever. This came with the program we're using. Let's just throw it in there.
Wouldn't be surprised if a modeler had, worked so hard on the fucking legs and just ran out of time for the top part, and it was just the default blender box, and it was like, fuck it, let's go!
We're fine. Slap a Xana eye on there. That's a monster.
Put it in production. Oh, man. But we started talking about Odd, and we should continue talking about Odd, because I love him so much. I
hate Odd, so I'm excited for this. You go first, and I'll tell you why I hate Odd.
Okay, he's stupid. What else do you want
Listen,
from
Leyla,
me?
I appreciate that you have a long history with stupid boys and loving them very much. My problem with Odd is that he is a Mary Sue. In the first several episodes, Odd has the highest KD ratio of any one of these fuckers. He has the most effective long-range attack, which is his laser arrow. He does several very good Matrix-y shots. He's always, fucking saving Leyla. Leyla is very into Odd. We don't talk about this enough, but Leyla does not like Jeremy. She is crazy about Odd. He is constantly, taking bullets for her, catching her when she falls, and she's like, hey, princess. And she's like, oh, hi, Odd. And it's like, she doesn't talk that way to Jeremy. So,
Hey. If I was a teenage girl trapped in a fucking video game, I am also pretty sure I would want to go with the one constantly saving me fucking Matrix style over the voice in the sky.
Listen, you're not wrong. I'm not... Listen, Jeremy has no rights. I ship Leyla and Odd, for sure, definitely. But, I don't like him because he's a Mary Sue, and he's way more powerful than everyone else, and, he gets all the cool action scenes, and I don't think that's fair to Yumi and Ulrich.
I think Yumi and Ulrich get to do more cool shit as the show goes on, but I appreciate Odd because he's a bisexual king. That boy is not afraid of a little bit of platonic boy contact. He is always draped all over Ulrich. I appreciate it a great deal. We don't see enough boys being platonically, touchy. Amazing. I love that he has the cool Asian girl purple hair streak and not Yumi. I also love his commitment to the color purple. I love that he loves his dog so much. There's a point where a glass window explodes and he dives on top of Kiwi. Even though, hey, buddy, your skin is thinner than Kiwi's.
Kiwi's gonna be fine, yo.
Fine. I think he's just a fantastic little idiot. And that being said, we didn't really have a ton to go on for any of the characters. So just baseline, he's great for me personally. But I do also love Ulrich, no thoughts, only sword. He's also very stupid, and I do appreciate him very much.
Yeah, no, obviously, when I was a kid, Ulrich was my favorite. He's got a sword, and all the girls think he's hot, and I was like, I want to be like that. He's just like Sasuke. Aw, damn it, I did a Naruto reference, sorry.
It's fine. Yeah, the fact that Ulrich is supposed to be hot really blew my mind in the first couple of episodes, because I was like, oh, I forgot this isn't a group of nerds. This is a group of eclectic, kind of cool kids with Jeremy in tow.
Yeah, Jeremy is the odd one out here. They just hang out with Jeremy because he has a cool VR rig. But
he's got an Oculus Rift.
Yeah, but essentially. But Ulrich, his whole deal, he's got a sword. and he's in love with Yumi, and that's all I
Oh,
know about him.
so in love with Yumi. And he's just... I think he's the personification of the phrase just, haha, yeah. Like, if that phrase became a person, it would be Ulrich. He's so chill with everything that happens all the time until Yumi gets involved. And then just all brain capacity just completely leaves the fucking area. But, yeah, he's also very stupid, and I also love him. They're all kind of dumb. They're teens, and that's fine.
Yeah. Except I feel like Yumi is the smartest out of all of them. Let's talk about Yumi real quick. So she is the and you brought it up in your notes, but like this show does a pretty good job of representation. Like there is like a little black girl with braids, and like there's several like Asian characters, including Yumi, who's Japanese. But yeah, like I don't know how good the representation. Like I don't know if it works super well, but like they did it in 2003, which is very impressive. But Yumi is this like Japanese girl who is in my opinion, like the most important character, because she is smart and she's good at fighting, and she's also like very strong. There's definitely a scene where she carries Ulrich over her back, like to escape like a poison gas leak or something, because he's been knocked out. She's extremely strong and smart, and also like she knows how to manipulate people. Like there's one episode we watched where like a fake Yumi got sent to the real world. Like Xana made a clone of her or whatever, and then like that fake Yumi tried to manipulate Jeremy by like flirting with him. And then like when all that was resolved at the end of that scene, the real Yumi came back, and then Jeremy was like, "Oh man, I should have known that wasn't you the whole time. You're acting so weird." And she's like, "Oh, is that so?" And she like takes off his glasses and gets real close and like starts flirting with him, and like she knows how to fucking manipulate these idiot boys, and I love her so much. She's clearly the smartest person. She got all the brain cells in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Her and Leyla are the only people worth anything in this fucking collective, and it shows so much in literally everything she does. And even if she's not like the book smartest, which again I appreciate because she is Japanese and that would have been wild, she's just kind of this like weird little punk goth who just likes to wear chunky shoes and sweater crop tops, which everyone is wearing a crop top all the time in this show.
Everyone has a crop top! So many crop tops! I counted 6 in the first episode, and I was like, am I just like unbearably straight, or is this a phase of fashion that I just did not notice?
Oh, we've discussed that you are not unbearably straight. Something happened.
Okay, that's fair.
Some switch did not get flipped with you, but we do not have to be concerned about heteronormativity in your life. But yeah, everyone is wearing a crop top, including Odd.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I love him is that bitch is wearing a crop top.
That rules. Everyone's, and there's like, they even address it. Like one of the little 7th graders is talking about how her mom was like, "Oh no, your navel's showing. You're not going just like that." And she's like, "Man, I'm too cool for you, Mom." And like, is that just what France is like? Is France just like 10 years ahead of us in every way?
I can't remember if crop tops were... The fashion was so bad during that time period. Like, I just can't remember if crop tops were in and we just wore them over t-shirts because we also wore skirts over jeans back then. Like...
Wow.
Yeah, there's some pictures of Ashley Tisdale out there with berets and skirts over jeans and shit. It gets wild. Vests were a thing. So it's just like, I just don't know, but I do appreciate it. Either that or a character designer just like hit a stride. It was just like, crop tops for all.
I am setting the aesthetic for this world, and it will be immaculate.
And I agree. It's incredible. It's just crop tops, which is how I live my life, so.
Yeah. Mad respect. Should we talk about any of the other characters? Do you have much to say about them?
Hey, why is Sissy's dad's forehead normal?
He is the only one, huh? He didn't get the genetically altered forehead.
Did Santa fuck with the water? Like, what happened then? All these teens just have these gigantic... Like, we can't not talk about the foreheads, because every time you say, hey, do you remember Code Lyoko? People are like, oh, is it the one with the forehead?
Yeah.
Yes, it is!
Also, yeah, like, Jim's forehead's pretty normal, too. Maybe it's just kids in that universe?
Maybe then they grow out of it.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like their brains need time to get smaller and more compact.
They're too big brained right now.
Oh, honestly, yeah. There's so much. There's so much happening in the show. Like, at one point, the scale to which these children have to deal with problems, like in the beginning, like, okay, sure, Xana takes over a teddy bear and makes it 2 stories tall, and like that's the big monster.
And a martial arts expert.
It is
Did you
It is
catch that?
Yeah, the bad guy that beat up Jim looks like this, and he's an expert in martial arts, according to Jim's report, which is very funny
and very accurate.
Yeah,
we believe Jim.
Yeah, and then immediately the episode after that is the one where Xana tries to force a nuclear reactor meltdown, and the kids are like, "Oh yeah, we just have to stop this nuclear explosion from going off." And then later on, like, Xana hacks into a military satellite which has a laser cannon on it, which, like, it says so much about the world of Code Lyoko, in which, like, there's a world in which we do have not only do we have weapons in space, we have laser cannons in space, and they are accessible by Wi-Fi. Xana, I don't understand what Xana is, really, but they seem way too strong. Like, at one point, Xana infects a horde of rats in the school and sends the rats to go eat the children alive. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and not only is Xana super powerful, but the children have usually 10 to 15 minutes to solve whatever world-ending crisis Xana presents. The nuclear reactor had like 15 minutes. Every time Jeremy was like, it's 40% charged. The pylon is 85% charged. Guys, it's 98% It's just like, it goes so quickly. And there was an episode that was basically the plot of Speed.
Yes!
And it's like, they had 14 minutes or some shit to solve that, or some trains colliding. Like, it's always a very convenient TV-sized time limit. But these kids have to drop everything and go save the world in 15 minutes every other day. It's very stressful.
It's incredibly stressful. Like, they're not even in high school yet, and Odd has to jump out of a bus that's moving 100 miles an hour to go run to a factory.
Because he's a catboy and he knows he's going to land on his feet.
That's true. Odd's fine. I forgot about that. Oh my god.
He's genetically a digital catboy.
It's in his veins. It's in his blood. Let's talk about... did you think this show was super horny?
Yeah, it was
okay, good. Weird. I'm glad it wasn't just me. And I think we both caught on, like, pretty early. Like, there are definitely a couple of shots of, like, kids in their underwear, specifically the girls. And, like, normally that'd be a big red flag. But, like, you pointed out that this is, like, a French show, and French people don't have, like, that weird American puritanical view of bodies that we were sort of exposed to. So, like, I don't know, did you feel like it was exploitative at all?
No, I didn't think it was gross. Like, it didn't feel voyeuristic in, like, a pervert old man sense. Like, I bitched about Sarada. There's my obligatory Naruto reference. Putting a 13-year-old girl in heels and, like, sexy outfits and, like, making her bottom lip pucker out, or having her, like, put her glasses in her mouth all sexy, like, that's bad, Ikimoto. This was just, like, she's changing for prom, and she happens to go to her vanity in her bra and her underwear. It wasn't very revealing. There were no cleavage lines. The underwear was all, like, high-rise. Like, it was very just, like, hey, there's an animal in my room. I'm also in my underwear. The two things are happening at the same time, but they're not, like... I didn't feel... If it was weird watching as an adult, but if I was a kid, like, I don't think I would think anything of it. You know what I mean? It was very much just like a locker room changing vibe. There was nothing weird or exploitative about it, to me.
Yeah, I mean, like... I have sort of the reverse reaction, which is, like, as an adult, like, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, this is, like, pretty normal, and it's, like, refreshingly not gross. But as a young prepubescent boy, this show is like a borderline pornographic for me. I was like, oh my, because there's one scene, right? this is gonna get into the horny segue where like Yumi and Ulrich get trapped in like a boiler room, and like the heat slowly increases, and they're like, oh no, it's getting so hot. Oh, I feel terrible. I guess we should take our clothes off. And then they're like, yeah, okay, I won't look. And like from what I remember, they played it like pretty cool. Like they don't actually like look at each other when they like have to take their, strip down to their underwear. But like it is like an extremely horny show. Like there is definitely some scenes where Yumi like sexually tackles Ulrich like twice within the first like the same 30-second time span. Like so I don't know.
Hey, even Aelita is like, Jeremy, I can't wait to be a real person and find out what it's like to touch. We could even kiss. And Jeremy loses his mind, rightfully so. Like...
Jeremy's like, hey, wow, that's a lot.
Aelita's just taking cues from Odd.
This is normal. Like, all you humans just love to hang all over your friends, right? And make out. That's what Odd tells me he does with Ulrich all the time.
These kids are so wild. Yeah, but it's like, it is a very horny show in like the weirdest way possible, where again, it's that thing where if we were 14 watching this, we wouldn't think anything of it, because when you're a kid, you project being an adult onto yourself and onto the characters that you're watching, but then as a grown-up, you're like, you're a baby. I don't know how to feel about you being a baby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like definitely, because I remember I was like, oh, this is just what like older kids do. And then looking back on my experience as a quote-unquote older kid, I was like, yeah, nah, dog. Just, how about you wait, give it 6 years, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, listen, I'm 20... Oh, wow, I forgot how old I was for a second there. I'm 26, and, like, the thought of any... I mean, especially now in the time of COVID, where none of us have had, if you're not married, you don't have any contact, platonic or otherwise, with another human being because you have asthma and you're in quarantine, like me. Not that I date ever, because... because I'm a terrible person is why, but the thought of anybody even hugging me makes me blush. Like
we fully regress to Victorian era touch starvedness here in 2020.
The thought of being perceived freaks me out. It's let alone someone. Yeah, this is full Pride and Prejudice over here. Like if Mr. Darcy brushed a hand upon my naked wrist, I would think about it for 4 days. Like it would be. It's truly just, it's impossible to picture, let alone in high school. Like, God, I thought boys were icky in high school. I arguably still think they're icky. No offense.
None taken. My wife reminds me about that every day, so.
Good. God bless her. But yeah, it was a very horny show, and I did notice it, but again, it was horny, but it didn't feel like a pervert old man wrote it.
I agree, yeah. It was like, it's the kind of, like, because when I was the target audience, I thought it was like, wow, this is like kind of a romance heavy show, but like this is just like normal and what cool older kids do. And like, I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know if that's just like, they were able to perceive their audience like in a pretty good well, because it's very clear this is not a show that like older people can appreciate. Like I thought it was interesting to rewatch, but I didn't necessarily enjoy it. Like I wouldn't necessarily rewatch this show for fun. There's some extremely bad lines throughout.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it too. I was like, would this be background noise for me? Like, my job kind of requires a lot of background noise. Like, would I be able to watch all 4 seasons of this? And I'm like, even Miraculous Ladybug, a show I objectively adore, despite it being literally for children and incredibly frustrating to watch sometimes. There's something about Ladybug that's more charming than this. I think it might be the dialogue, maybe it's the translations, maybe this is just outdated, or honestly, it might just be Jeremy.
Jeremy is a big portion of why it does not work. Jeremy sucks really bad, though.
Like, Marinette is very charming, and so is my beautiful son, Adrian, but, like, Yumi and Ulrich and Odd just can't, they don't have enough dialogue to carry it for me. So yeah, this was a fun rewatch, but I don't know if I could. I would watch an abridged version of all 4 seasons just to refresh myself, but I wouldn't.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't put myself through this. I would. That's why I refer people to that podcast, Super Nuclear Presents, because like if you want some older people fondly looking back on Code Lyoko and being like, "Wow, this show was pretty fucking wild, huh?" Definitely recommend them. Um, but yeah, like I don't know. There are definitely some things that work, and then there's also like that song at the end of episode 2
I
where they're
skipped
like
it.
virtual girl in her
Nope.
own world. I was just like, wow, this is
I skipped it.
It was painfully bad.
I skipped it. I couldn't do it. I skipped it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I skipped it. I saw your note about it because I had read your notes towards the end, and I saw that you said the song is bad, and I said, "Oh, the song," and then it started happening, and then I skipped it, and I went to the next episode because it was like, listen, I put myself through the Kaiba song. I'm not putting myself through this.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be putting that one at the end of this episode.
No.
Mr. Keshko deserves his space.
No, just put the Kaiba one again.
No.
It's just terrible.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Do you have strong feelings about Sissy? Because like there is like a little bit of a story arc with her and just like her trying to ingratiate herself with the Lyoko warriors. But like I don't know, she also does some really heinous shit, so like I don't know how to feel about her.
I feel like a lot of the heinous shit she does is just heinous teenage bullying because like Ulrich and Odd also do some heinous teenage bullying to her.
Yeah.
And to the point where they're borderline taking advantage of the whole Xana time reversal. Like the one time Chloe wanted to like talk to Ulrich and he wrote her a note, be like, meet me behind the school or whatever, and then they made her make out with Kiwi pretty much, and it was really mean, and I didn't enjoy that for my protagonists. But then the Xana time skip happened, and they faked so that she would go meet up with one of her little henchman goons instead, which was still kind of mean because they made him believe she liked him and he really liked her, and it was upsetting.
It's worse in that one. They go from like, oh haha, we made our dog jump on you and lick your face, to hey, we tricked one of your like only friends into thinking that you loved him, and then we had some kids take a picture of you two making out and we're gonna put it all over the school paper. Like that's fucked up, yo.
Yeah, this was before the Be Best campaign, the incredibly effective.
Yes.
This was pre-Best.
Oh god. We live in a more civilized age now.
Yeah, because fuck Christmas, am I right? But
give me a fucking break.
Excuse my incredibly dating political references, but yeah, it's yeah, she's prototype Chloe. I have to dig into this. There has to be like a writer overlap, or like the shows are just too Heather's Mean Girls similar. Like they're just too similar. Chloe Bourgeois is the sissy of Miraculous Ladybug, and it's the same shit. She has a huge crush on Adrian. She's like, I mean, her name is Chloe Bourgeois.
That's really funny.
She's the mayor's daughter.
Yeah, like, of course she is.
There's a lot of pun names in that one. Marinette's name is Dupan Chang, and Dupan meaning the bread, and she's a baker's daughter. Anyway,
I see.
But incredible television. But yeah, there's just not a lot of characterization happening in this show, kind of generally speaking, except for Aelita, who deserves a gun.
Yes.
I will die on this hill. But yeah, it's just I don't have any strong feelings about really any of the characters, other than Odd's aesthetic and Aelita needing a gun.
I see. So that's why you don't like my who do you ship question.
Well, no, I just generally hate because I've been in fandom Tumblr for too long, so I just. I've seen dildos made out of things they shouldn't be made out of, to the point where the word shipping kind of just triggers a fight or flight.
No, this is it. I don't know anything about that kind of fandom shipping. I just think who do you think is the best? Which couples do you want to end up together, basically?
Kind of none of them, honestly.
That's fair. They should all just like probably go to college and meet other people.
I think Ulrich and Yui maybe, if Ulrich can talk to girls.
If he learns to speak and not just swing his sword around and like talk about how he feels with his friend,
or he doesn't have to learn how to speak. Bigger sword.
There we go. I'll keep that in mind. From when I'm designing characters, it's like, I don't think this person has enough personality. I'm gonna give them a gun and a bigger sword.
Listen, the strong and silent type is a thing. Sometimes he needs to just do some bench presses, do some push-ups, get a bigger sword, and then he doesn't need to talk. He could just be the strong and silent type and speak through his actions like he deserves. The real German boy.
That's what happens in the Code Lyoko reboot when they time skip forward 4 years and they're all in Code Lyoko High School.
So Code Lyoko Evolution.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
A real show?
Fuck. Oh, god damn it.
A real live-action sequel to Code Lyoko.
Everything we love has a terrible live-action sequel. Why is that?
Because we live in hell.
I suppose.
Because we're post the Paula Abdul.
Yes, that's right. I forgot. We live in the fucking alternate universe time split. Yeah, if that doesn't make any sense to you, listen to the last 10 episodes of our Mean Girls Heathers episode, where Leyla explains her incredible theory. And I have to take several drinks that you can hear during the recording.
Yeah, this show is incredibly wild, and again, Ulrich, bigger sword, Leyla, gun. Jeremy, I have a solution, I think, and that's just to not have Jeremy and give Yumi that job instead.
Yep.
Because she did Jeremy's job for an episode, and I think she did it better. Yeah, those would be my fixes for Code Lyoko, I think. And to, like, maybe by episode 6 give some hint as to what Xana is.
Yeah, I do feel like they could have gone a little bit more into the backstory.
Because I was, I'm into it. It's definitely one of those shows you can, like, dip into randomly and not really care about what's going on, but, like, I was a little curious.
So, I mean, I'm sure you looked at the little explanation I posted in our notes, but, like, basically, Xana's origin story is that it was an evil computer virus that was created by a man named Franz Hopper to destroy Project Carthage, a thing I know nothing about. But apparently, he made this virus to destroy this bad military software called Project Carthage, and but it went bad somehow, and then that scientist's daughter, whose name is Leyla, got trapped inside Lyoko. That doesn't make any sense. That's a bad explanation, but like that's apparently the lore, and I think it makes it worse.
Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. It does make it a little worse. I feel like we could have had a little more fun with Xana being like, I don't know, a computer ghost or something. It was 2003. There were big phones. It could have been anything.
Could have been anything. God, did you ever have a cell phone with an antenna?
No, my first phone was a Razor.
Oh, yeah, the cool flip phones, yeah.
Hell yeah. I had a sick Razor. I had a couple. I had a very bad habit of breaking phones up until 2 years ago when I started paying for my own phone. suddenly got more responsible.
Became real. Yeah, my first phone was a shitty prepaid, like, Virgin Mobile phone that I do believe did have a little antenna. Good times. Great times.
I think a Razor had the antenna you could pull out, but you didn't if you wanted to be cool.
Yeah, no, you just like flipped it open and was like, "Hey, what's up?" Okay, bye. My cousin had a Juke. Sorry?
Do you remember Jukes?
No, of course I don't.
Okay, so Jukes were the size of maybe your two fingers put together. And you had to, like, rotate them open like a Tesla. And the whole point of them was that you could put music on them. And they had, like, a better, I don't know, speaker or, like, a music app or something. My cousin had one, and she loved it for about 2 weeks. And then she was like, this is the worst phone I've ever had. Because you could break that thing just by any minute action. I'm pretty sure including just opening it to use it like a phone. Can you imagine holding something that small to your fucking ear? Listen, this just goes back to the point of crop tops and wearing skirts over jeans. Things in the mid-2000s were ugly and weird and wild. We were all going through just like technological and fashion puberty, and this show was caught up in it, and like I don't understand why or how, but we have it now, and we just have to deal with the big foreheads.
Oh my god, technologic and fashion puberty is the best way to explain this whole show and that whole era. God, alright, Layla. We've given it a lot of time and a lot of thought, but I think the time is upon us to decide what our Lyoko Sonas are.
Do you have one? Have you thought about it?
No, but I could pull one up if you don't.
Okay. So if you don't know this about me, I have 2 twin blades tattooed on my forearm because every single game I've ever played, I started with the dot hack games. I've been a twin blade, so like, natch. I'm gonna be a twin blade because, you know, you dart in, you dart out, minimum damage, you do some effects, smoke bombs, whatever, cool. I think fashion wise, really lean into my Russian, Ukrainian, Azerbaijani roots. I think there would be a headscarf involved, but like, you know, wrapped up in like a cool way. Like it wouldn't be the like grandma style with the knot under the chin. It would be like the top knot. It would be cool. Just trust it would be cool. And because it's 2007, I would be remiss not to wear a skirt over my leggings.
Excellent. Perfect. Man, I really want to say like I would do some weird like Germano Rajput hybrid warrior, but
Nice.
if I'm being really really honest with myself, it is my fucking nobody persona from Kingdom Hearts. It's just me wearing a Organization 13 hoodie and the swords that I bought at the medieval fair in Central Illinois, and I just have both of those.
Virtualization.
I hope we get popular so somebody draws that for me. I think that's probably everything from Lyoko we can discuss.
Yeah, I think we've milked these foreheads as much as we humanly could.
Yeah. There's so much milk in these massive foreheads. Okay. What are we doing next week? Is next week Over the Garden Wall?
No, next week is This Is How You Lose the Time War.
Oh shit, yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, I get to read an entire book.
It's a novella, it's very short, I think.
Okay, I get to read an entire novella.
It won't be that bad. If you can get the audiobook, I recommend it, because the audiobook's great. But yeah, big excite for that one.
Yeah, it's Over the Garden Wall the week after that,
Yeah.
which I am big excite for because I will just have the Langtry's Lament stuck in my head for 4 days, which is how I should be living my life all the time.
Perfect.
Aaron, you want to plug your... Or I usually go first, don't I? Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I can go first. Listen, it's not set in stone.
Yeah, let's fucking shake it up. Go first.
Okay,
Plug your
great,
shit.
great. You can find me on Twitter at AaronSXL, where I tweet about politics, and I also got published. My first piece got published in Ghost Heart Literary Journal and their Chambers magazine. I did a piece about what I thought that healthcare in America would be like if they employed necromancers, and it was a really fun piece, and I'm really grateful that I got published, and it's a fun time. Also, you can listen to my other podcast at MBMBF and me. We just recorded an episode on The Witch from 2015, and despite me not liking horror that a whole lot, I really enjoyed that show. And Michael has a great time just going completely deep in the paint about just the wild shit that he knows about witches. So it's a good time.
Wow. Okay. Can't wait. I cannot wait for that expose to fucking hit youtube.com. You can find me at LEYLSES on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. We're mostly posting studies right now because I'm busy. And you can read my webcomic, Astral Heart, at astralheartcomic.com. Where Prince is about to make some mistakes.
Very excited for that. And also, our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Leyla, I don't know if you have a quote, but I did want to bring one quote. If you don't have any particular
it's all
ones.
fucking you, bud.
Okay, so this is right when Yumi has to go get sent back to help Jeremy, and then it's just her talking to Ulrich, and Ulrich's like, I don't know. Like, first you have to devirtualize yourself. I don't know how you're going to do that. And she just looks him cold, dead in the face and says, you're armed, aren't you?